All right, so now inside this card component, when we dispatch an action down here, we are creating that action directly inside the dispatch method. And that's absolutely fine, right? It all works. However, but wait, there's more. Um, to achieve a even better separation of concerns and to make our code and our actions more reusable, a lot of developers would prefer to use action creators to create these actions in separate files. Action creators are just functions, and what they'll do is generate an action. Then when we call that function right here, it will generate an action for us. Now, it might seem a little weird at first, but this is going to help us with asynchronous code later on. And also, if you want to dispatch the same kind of action from different locations, you can do that easily as well. Because we've got one action generator, and we don't have to retype out the same kind of action. We can just call a function. So that's what we're going to get into right now. So let me show you. First of all, we'll create an actions folder down here, and we'll call it actions. Then inside of here, I'm going to create a new file, and this file is going to be called cardactions.js. So anything with a card would be going in here. Now we're just going to create one action creator to begin with, and that is going to create an action to delete a card. So it's going to create an action which looks very much like this. So now inside of here, I'll say export first because we do want to export this, and const delete card. I'll call it like so, and that is equal to an arrow function. We're taking the ID as a parameter, and remember we need to include that in the action. Then we will return an object, and this object will represent the action that we're returning. So it has a type, and that's going to be delete underscore card. And also, it's going to have an ID property. And it's going to be equal to the ID that we receive right here. And of course, you remember, if we have a same property and value name, we can just say like this, and that's going to do the same thing. Okay, so that's all. That's the action creator. What do you think? So we're just creating a function which is returning an action. So now what we could do is just go to the card.js file, call that function right here. But first of all, we will need to import it. So at the top of this file, we want to import delete card. So I will say import delete card. And we want to import it from .. and this is the src directory. Then we want to go into the actions folder, and then we want the card actions inside of it. So now we've imported this function, which generates an action for us. Good job. Now, down here, we can use that function, delete card, like so. And we're passing the ID, which we receive here, because remember, this action creator expects that ID right here. All right, so now this should work exactly the same. Let's save it and try it, see if it works. So let's delete this one, and it works. Delete this one. Haha, see, that's great. So it's all still working, and you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, this could be a little confusing. But again, it's all about the more you use dispatches in different components, the more you'll be using action creators like this. Okay, you'll get the idea behind it very quickly if you don't already. So I promise, after using it in a very short period of time, it's going to be like, well, you know what? I love a piece of cake.